Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. Home care is very important for seniors, especially here in San Diego. And there's a couple here today who own their own home care company, and I love that sort of tandem combination. They're going to talk about their home care company and what makes them different from the other home care companies here in San Diego County. That is Brenda and Chris Cox. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I've known you guys for a while, and I've been kind of wanting to get you on the show, and we finally got you here in the studio, which is great. Talk to me about your company, Home Helpers, and how you got started.
Absolutely. So we started Home Helpers March 7th, 2019. Been doing it for about 5 years, just over 5 years. We celebrated. And what got me into home care? Well, I kind of got back to my roots. I'm going to be honest. My husband, he served in the Marine Corps for 28 years. And we kind of were going back and forth, East Coast, West Coast, that kind of thing. And I was in education. I worked 20 plus years as a campus president, an administrator, running the school system. And I wanted to change. I was looking for a change once he retired. And so we moved to Valley Center, and we were finally stationary after following him around for about 30 years. And I thought to myself, what is it that I want to do? What do I want to do when I grow up, right? And so I really liked working with seniors. I kind of got back to my roots. My mom worked at the Good Samaritan Center in Park River, North Dakota, and I used to go there and I volunteered playing bingo with them every Saturday back in North Dakota. And then when we got stationed in 29 Palms, I was a caregiver, actually. I took care of a lady, and it helped me go through college when we were stationed there. And so I worked as a caregiver probably for about 2 years. And so when I was thinking about, what is it that I want to do, I'm like, I want to work with seniors. I want to do something, help them with their care. I have a staffing and recruiting background. I used to head up Eastridge Technical back in the day, 1995. And so I did a lot of staffing and recruiting. And so I was like, what involves staffing, recruiting, seniors? I found Home Helpers. And so I bought an existing franchise. And so we've been doing it for just over 5 years. We love the senior population. And I'm really happy that I made the decision.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you for your service, first and foremost.
My pleasure.
So that's a different transition, right? Going from the Marine Corps to home care. How has that been?
It's been great. I'm really just here to support Brenda. I knew this was really what she wanted to do, and I have a knack for the administrative side of things and the technical and metric side of things and kind of looking after that. So I knew I could help her out, and I knew that she was dedicated to this cause, and so it's just worked out really well.
That's great. So it's a good combination, different skill sets combined. So
yes.
you have everything under one
Absolutely.
roof, so to speak. Great. So you have something kind of unique, that free sort of home introduction. Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so prior to sending a caregiver out, what I like to do, I want to make sure that we have a good fit. It's all about the match, right? We're not just going to send anybody out there. I want the person to be able to actually interview with them and make sure that they can do everything that they need them to do, that they have the skill set. And so we don't charge anything when we go out there and do what we call a meet and greet. And so it's just that time for the client to figure out, is this the best person for me? Do I feel comfortable with them in my home? Because it's a big step, when you're independent and you're used to doing everything by yourself, and then you get to the point where you need a little extra help, and feeling comfortable about having that person in your home. So I make sure it's going to be a good fit. And so I bring them out there personally, and introduce them and make sure it's going to be a good fit. And I always tell all of my clients, like, just because I like them and I interviewed them and I think they're great, you might not like them, and that's okay. I want you to have someone that you feel comfortable with. And so we do a really good job, I think, of matching and making sure it's going to be a good fit. And so that's kind of what we're about, is making sure that the seniors are comfortable in their own home. And so that's how we've been successful for the last 5 years, honestly.
That's great. And Chris, I know you're mostly doing like the back office type stuff, but you probably see the benefits too of doing this kind of thing with people.
Absolutely. I think it's a huge thing when you come to a first introductory meeting and you actually have the caregiver with you. That's just something that's unique in the industry, and it shows a lot of faith and confidence that we have in our employees and our ability to match people up. And I think that it resonates well with our clients. The fact that we're going to actually show you who's coming in, we're going to make sure, and we essentially call it 2 hours of free care. So oftentimes we'll have the caregiver start going through some of the routine that they might want us to do while we're there if they hire us. And so they get an actual view of the caregiver doing work for them and making sure everything's going to click. And like Brenda said, we don't charge anything for that. That's just part of our assurance that we're giving a good match to the client and that everyone's going to be completely satisfied. It goes the same way with the caregiver as well, so that they understand the client and the client's needs, and that they agree that this is a job they want to take on.
I mean, home care, the decision to bring someone in to look after your loved one, for the adult children, usually, it's huge. And you trust this person with your parents, and that they're going to take care of them. And so by being able to meet them, no charge, no obligation, but here's who it's going to be, and really get to know them. I'm sure it makes the family members who hire you that much more relieved and wanting to move forward. What are some of the things you guys look for in your caregivers?
Honestly, I look for someone that is like a people person. I can train the right person, and we do a lot of training because the state requires it. But I look for someone that has the passion to do caregiving, because not everybody is a caregiver. You can get someone in your office that has 10 years experience, but their personality stinks. And I think about it and I'm like, okay, would I want that caregiver taking care of my mother? And so that's kind of what I always keep in the back of my mind is if I feel comfortable with them going into my home, then I'm going to hire them. And of course, we have to, put them through a lot. They have to be registered to be caregivers in the state of California. We have to do fingerprinting, background checks. If they're driving our clients around, it's DMV, California driver's license, insurance, registration. They have to have TB. They have to have up-to-date COVID, that type of thing. So we make sure that all of those requirements are met so that, we're confident about, putting them into the home. And that's, we follow the process to a T. And I feel very safe that way as well, as far as them going into the home, because they've been background checked. You're not going to get, someone with a felony or misdemeanor, or, you get an independent caregiver you're going to hire, but you don't really know. And if they steal from you, or if something happens, they hurt their back in your home, or, they get injured, that individual caregiver isn't going to have workers' comp and all the different insurances that you have to have when you own an in-home care. So there's lots of safety and precautions in place when a caregiver does come into your home.
Yeah, so I could see this combination working really well. So Brenda's going out there, she's getting the people she thinks would be a good match. Chris, you're making sure they got the driver's license, the background check. I mean, you're that part of it. It's working really well together. I can see that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good. Well, more information is on screen for home helpers. You can see their website, you can see their phone number. Give them a call, check them out, and schedule that free introductory session, because I think it's super valuable for what you guys do, and I really appreciate all the work you do in the community. And thank you very much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you having us.